It's David Stockdale here, 1-3, from Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of The Wycombe Wanderers Show. In the next hour, we'll be reflecting on that 1-1 draw at Lincoln.
We will also be reflecting on the 4-0 victory over not short or medium, but long Crendon.
Sounds like a frequency, doesn't it?
It does.
Like medium
Broadcasting
wave.
on long Crendon, this is Wycombe Sound on 106.6.
The Bucks and Bucks Cup tie, the quarter-final,
yes.
In front of almost 2,000.
Yes, apologies, we said it was the semi-final last week, but in fairness, I think it was because we saw that it was at a neutral venue and we assumed that maybe the semi-finals were at neutral venues, but we were wrong.
It's not that sort of competition.
No, it's not.
We'll be hearing from...
I think they just play it wherever they can. It's like, put some jumpers down and that'll do.
In Tame.
Yes.
We'll be hearing from some of the key names from that game. We'll be catching up with former player Mark Hill as well.
And earlier on today, you spoke to Gareth Ainsworth ahead of this Saturday's home game against Cheltenham Town.
We chatted about football and music.
Ooh.
More on that to come.
Looking forward to that.
Yes, and we'll preview Wycombe Wanderers women's last league game of the season.
Away to the Winchester City Flyers.
Ooh.
Not a hockey team.
No, they do sound a bit ice hockey,
They do, yes.
But first, 4 league games without a win now.
But maybe, just maybe, the fact that we scored very late on against Lincoln, the corner has been turned, as it were.
Yes.
And we are now back on track.
And almost 60 sort of shots in the last 2 games.
And that's the thing. It's just like, goodness me, I think we're so used to actually the statistics being the other way round. But actually now, in the last 2 games, we've had more possession than the opposition, which doesn't normally actually happen with us, whoever we're playing. Even Long Crendon probably had, nearly 50%. But, no, they probably didn't really. But yes, 28 shots to Lincoln City's 7. The disappointing thing is now, when you sort of look at the table, and I know Gareth would probably not want me to say this, but you do start to think, I think it might be playoffs rather than automatic promotion.
Well, we'll hear from the manager later on this hour as well, and he'll say himself that, the teams in this division, it's so close and such fine margins, and some of the top teams have strengthened, and even some of the teams down in the lower reaches of the table can cause upsets. Cheltenham, who were playing this Saturday, of course, have beaten Sunderland recently. In fact, a number of teams in the lower part of the table have beaten Sunderland.
Yes, they're a funny old side, aren't they, Sunderland? We've lost 6-0, let's get rid of our manager. And also a special mention as well about Derek Adams, who was let go from Bradford City as well, which I'm sure raised a smile of many a chairboy this week.
Yes, absolutely. While we're sort of...
Cheer up, Derek Adams.
No.
As the song goes. But yes, looking at the table, sorry, it's just the number of games in hand that Wigan have got, and annoyingly, unlike last year where Rotherham had all of those games in hand and pretty much blew them all, Wigan don't really seem to be following that script.
No.
And Rotherham do also, seem to have already got 1 foot in the Championship, unfortunately, with their 65 points.
So looking at the game at Lincoln, I guess in a way, a welcome point, having come from behind, and also Josh Scone's sending off, which, as we'll hear, is a bit debatable.
Yes, definitely. Chris Reno again, coming to the rescue. What a find he's been. I know we said this actually last week on the programme, but it's true. Considering that he turned up to a trialist game, basically just making up the numbers. Good to see the trialist family represented against Long Crendon, by the way. But yeah, the fact that actually now he's very important in our defence, and he's scoring goals as well. Fantastic. What a find.
Let's hear from the manager speaking to Phil at Sincil Bank after the game.
28 attempts at goal, I know we've took a sloppy set play to get going, 5 minutes, and they had this set piece, and we've got to defend that better. I'm really disappointed in that. But after that, they had 1 or 2 breakaways, and right before half-time I thought their right back had a great chance and a great run, but on the whole I think we had the better chances today. How we haven't scored in the scramble at the end is unbelievable. I thought we had a definite penalty shout on Josh Scowen in the first half. People will look at the Sam Vokes one. I think the Josh Scowen one's a definite penalty. I think he's nicked behind the boy who doesn't know he's there. He's kicked the ball and the boy's just fouled him in the box. Now, how that's not a penalty, how that's not a foul, anywhere on the pitch that's a foul, but he doesn't give the penalty, and for me that's a mistake by the referee. And then second half, obviously with the conditions up here, which believe me was unbelievably windy and rain coming down, second half we always knew we would step on them and put the game on them. and I'm disappointed we haven't scored more goals in that second half, with the chances we've had, but the keeper's made a worldy save. But David Stockdale's been called on and had to come out on definitely one save. I thought he was magnificent. So probably sharing the spoils isn't a bad thing. When you don't play brilliant and you get a point away from home, you take it, you go down the road, and you look forward to the home game next week against Cheltenham. But pleased that the subs made an impact. Daryl Horgan came on, settled the ball down well. David Wheeler, aerial ability, was always going to be present today, and yeah, it's a great moment for Chris Farino, his first league goal, and that boy's going to go on to big things, believe me. I thought he marshalled somebody at the stature of John Marquis very, very well. So pleased we've got him at Wycombe. He's been an absolute diamond of a find, and hopefully we can improve him and get him to the potential we believe he can be. But no, on the whole, we'll have to take a point down the road. Fans were fantastic, by the way. Thank you so much for the support. They were brilliant. And just at the end there, Josh getting sent off, I truly believe that the referee did not realise he'd already booked him in the game, and I don't think he would book him again if he realises that. Have a look at the footage, but that's my opinion, and it's sours us because we lose Josh for a game now.
I was going to say 2 yellows, no appeal.
Can't appeal it, which is crazy because you can appeal reds, but you can't appeal second yellow. Surely that rule should be changed, but because we would be appealing that one. He didn't run aggressively. He just jogged over to the ref. He hasn't sworn. The referee has said no, there was no foul language used, but he said he was super aggressive the way he ran at me, and I can't understand how he's given him a second yellow, but we have to take that. It's a tough job. I've always said that, refereeing, and I wouldn't get myself in trouble, but it's a hard one for us to take that one, and I just wish he was available for the next game because he's a big player for us.
Yeah, just back as well. But Wycombe, it looked possibly to be a second game of frustration, lots of attempts, but the build-up to the second goal at the stage of the game will have pleased you. Yeah,
I mean, it's fantastic. We got the ball, we switched the play a couple of times to stretch their defence, and we put a cross in, I know people will say, oh, Wycombe get the ball forward, and that's great. Yeah, of course we do. We get the ball forward. We play in the final third. That's what I want to do, and I think that we caught them out trying to play out of the back more of the times than they caught us out. And when we do get in that final third, we've got this quality in the team. McCleary and Mehmeti and Horgan came on, settled the ball down really well today. Brandon Hanlon should have really scored with his first touch, that was unlucky. Volksy's had a glorious chance, a great save from the keeper at the end, numerous corners. How Daryl Horgan in the scramble at the end there hasn't scored. I mean, we've had chances in the last 2 games. I think it's probably 60 attempts on goal, and just 1 goal to show for it. So maybe some finishing practice needs in training, but now I'm pleased we're creating chances. I think years ago we probably didn't have shots on target or created about 3 chances a game. We've outpossessed Lincoln, we've outpassed Lincoln, we've outshot Lincoln, but we could only get a point today. Now, a great result for an away team, 1-1. We take a point. When you don't play brilliant and you get a point away from home, you're semi-happy. I think we could have got all 3 today, but tough place to come. Played here for a long time, loved it, and I know how tough it can be here when them fans get behind you. So it was nice to be back at Sincil Bank, but back down the road now to Cheltenham next week.
Still 5th in the table, which is fairly decent as well.
Somebody trying to get a hold of him right at the end. He did do very well at Lincoln as well. He scored the most amount of goals in a season in his career, if you see what I mean, whilst he was at Lincoln.
Yeah, good knowledge.
Yes, yeah. I looked that up last week, actually. Waiting to get that in.
Berks and Bucks Senior Cup, the quarter-final, was on Tuesday at Tame United against Long Crendon, and probably one of the biggest attendance of a Berks and Bucks Cup tie.
I would have thought so, yes.
Certainly at that stage of the competition.
Yeah, a few notable things. The fact that it wasn't actually played in Berks or Bucks, but in Oxfordshire. We broke the stadium attendance record.
I thought you were going to break the stadium.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we're quite in the Millwall category, luckily, which is a good thing. 1,904 people went along to see it. So Paul Tame United now don't have the highest attendance at their stadium, which is always one of those slightly quirky facts. But yes, a 4-0 win. Ali Al-Hamadi, I will get it right, breaking the deadlock in the first half. And then lots more goals coming in the second half.
Absolutely. Ali spoke to Phil after the game to reflect on how he got on and also his international appearance recently as well.
It was obviously nice to get my first goal in. Bit scrappy, but I was pleased I was in the right position. I think we done well tonight as a team, and there's different people involved for different reasons. Obviously everyone's got their own reason to play in these games, but obviously all due respect to Crendon, they were good as well. But yeah, obviously good win in the end, and good experience for everyone involved.
Must be tricky with a few trialists in as well, new faces. It must be difficult to find that rhythm.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult sometimes, like boys on the fringes, especially because we haven't got many games. But like you said, with trialists and people playing for different reasons, you have to just adapt quickly in these games. But luckily we were able to do that and just get the job done tonight, even if it's not Fischer playing.
Yeah, tricky pitch today, but also a unique situation. A lot of fans here tonight as well, and a lot of times a lot of Wycombe fans would have come here tonight to see the players like yourself, so it must have been a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself to some of those Wycombe fans.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a great occasion for Long Crendon, and obviously for us as well, just playing in front of some fans, which we obviously haven't got to do much often since COVID. But yeah, no, like you said, it's a good experience for everyone, and it's with the gaff watching and fans just trying to prove yourself a little bit and trying to get in that squad.
And talk us through the goal. It was a nice cross, but plenty to do from there.
Yeah, just use my neck muscles. A bit of a scrappy goal, but again, like I said, just nice to get on the score sheet. And yeah, just build on now and hopefully push and try and get into the squad before the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to me about your time at Wycombe. It's quite a unique setup in what Wycombe have got here, development squad, but you're in the first team squad all of the time. So that pathway to the first team is pretty short and readily available. Yeah,
it's just invaluable experience. Obviously playing and training with likes of Oaksey, Brandon. Obviously training week in week out with first team players who've done it at the highest level for a few years. So you learn a lot. And sometimes it's learning, it's not all plain sailing, like you have your bad days, but like I said, it's all learning, and just being in that environment every day was a reason I came here, just to get away from like the academy setup, because I think it's a bit full sometimes. Just playing games like these just gives you so much experience that maybe you won't get in academy football. It's all nice and pretty football. But yeah, I've loved it so far here, and again, it's just been settling in period for me last few months, but hopefully now push on and get to where I want to get to.
An injury, but also an international opportunity as well. So how was that representing the country in all of this?
Yeah, it was a mad experience. Obviously it was an ideal getting injured. A bit of poor timing, because I think there was a few injuries, so I could have been involved a bit more. But that's football, and just got to get on with it. And yeah, with the call up, it was just a surreal experience playing against Iran, which is like neighbouring country to Iraq. And like everyone's seeing, the fan base is crazy about football. So yeah, it gives me a good kind of pressure that spurs me on to try and I've got kind of a whole country supporting me on my back, and I like that. I think I thrive off it.
There can't be many people who played for Iraq and against Long Crendon.
That's very, very true. Yes, and who sounds so Scouse as well. You wouldn't know that he was an Iraqi international, would you? Another person who spoke to the media after the game was Jack Young, who spoke to Matt Cecil.
Jack, the first run out for the chair boys tonight. How did you find it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was everything I would have wanted in my first game, a 4-0 win and a goal, so yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Talk us through your move to the club. It was deadline day, wasn't it? It must have been an exciting time for you, but also a big move coming such a long way down the country.
Yeah, it's a big move, but it's been worth it so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have to thank the gaffer and all the staff for bringing me in, and I'm learning a lot every day, and hopefully I keep learning and try and push to get in the squad.
I bet you didn't know much about Long Crendon before tonight, but it was a massive night for them, and it was so good, wasn't it? See such a big crowd, such a great atmosphere, and they obviously enjoyed having Wycombe Wanderers in town.
Yeah, it was a really good atmosphere for my first game, and I thought it made it a bit tough for us at the start, and I thought we dealt with that well, and then in the end our class showed, so it was good.
Obviously this is your second loan spell. You've had one out at Tranmere as well, and it must be so good for you, growing up at Newcastle United, working alongside some great coaches and alongside some great players. What a club to begin your education in football.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, but I think now it's time to kick on, get some games in the Football League, and that's what I want to do, and I want to do it here at Wycombe, so I feel really a part of it, and that's what I'm going to do, push on now. It's the best environment I've ever been in, and all the lads are brilliant, so inclusive, and yeah, and obviously the big man B makes you so welcome, so yeah, I've loved every second of it.
Jack Young, who of course is on loan from Newcastle, speaking to Matt, he was another of the goal scorers, and someone else who got a goal in injury time was JB Fischer, talking to Matt as well.
JB, great to see you out there in the gold, and a special night for you scoring your first Wycombe goal.
Yeah, definitely, just buzzing, you know. I've been working hard for this. I've been at Wycombe since the beginning of the year, but my first chance to actually play in an official game, so really happy about it. Managed to get my first goal, and yeah, it was great.
You've had to be patient. How have you found that? It must have been a very strange transition for you coming into the fold, but gradually you've waited your time and got your opportunity tonight.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with the gaffer, the players, the staff, everyone is like welcoming. So for a player like me that had a different background, it was like very easy actually to settle in the team, just speak to the captains, and yeah, I mean, I think it showed today also, just the cohesion of the team. Everyone was on it, everyone was pressing, everyone was playing together. So even with a couple trialists, like managing to get them in and playing the Wycombe style. So yeah, just happy about it.
Take us back through your career, because it's not often Wycombe sign former PSG captains, is that right, at youth level?
Yeah, so I used to play at PSG when I was younger. I was captain of my team, so for about 10 plus years, played at PSG, then went to the United States, played for the University of Georgetown, which is an amazing soccer program over there, as well as university. Managed then to go to Swansea for a little bit last year, and then just joined Wycombe this year, and it's been better and better ever since.
Obviously there's the Georgetown connection with Pete. How good has he been in terms of helping you come over here and settle in?
Of course, I mean, Pete is a fantastic guy. Managed to speak to him quite many times, and just an amazing guy. Managed to speak to him, to Brian Weiss also, my ex-coach at Georgetown University. Just great guys, and I'm so happy to be here.
And how do you feel your game has progressed in the time that you've been here? Has it been an opportunity for you to really develop the game and learn off some fantastic professionals here?
Yeah, of course. I mean, players like JJ, Stocko, GMAC, I mean, all are still playing, but obviously had great careers as well. And being able to train week in, week out with them, just at a very high level, high intensity, with all the boys, the gaffer always pushing us. I think that's pushing just everyone to be a better player and to be the best version of themselves.
And don't forget, you can hear more from each of those interviews on Wanderers TV.
Which is very, very good. I have subscribed, and it is rather wonderful, I have to say.
Oh, excellent review.
It's better than I follow. If you're wondering when the semi-final draw is for the Bucks and Bucks Cup, actually, I'm introducing this the wrong way around because we don't actually know. But I can tell you it hasn't been made yet, and that we are the first team through into the semi-finals, because the game between Didcot Town and Ascot United takes place next week. And then following that, the following week, MK Dons visit Beaconsfield Town. Be nice if lots of Wycombe supporters could go along and cheer on Beaconsfield Town for that one. That's on the 1st of March, 7:45 Pancake Day. And the following night... Just giving you a bit of extra information there. Cheshire United host Reading. That's on the 2nd, also 7:45 kickoff.
No significance to the 2nd of March, is there?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, and also we'll chat to former...
Day after St David's Day?
Yeah, that'll do.
Sort of like Boxing Day for Welsh people.
Former defender Mark Hill next here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final thing to say about the Lawn Crendon game as well was that the crowd of 1,904 was the highest attendance in the competition apart from the final for more than 50 years.
We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth shortly as well. He credits the food. He said the food afterwards was very nice.
So it's people actually, they weren't really there for the football. It's like, oh yeah, we must go to Lawn Crendon because the food's really good.
I saw somebody on social media actually said that they were going to the game and the smell of burgers, and it was raining as well. Just what a Tuesday night football.
Yeah. I mean, straight away, as soon as you say that, the image is conjured.
Absolutely. So that's all to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. But as usual, big thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, who this week has provided as our guest Mark Hill, who was a defender and played in the early 80s. And here is how he became a Wycombe Wanderer.
I was released by Brentford at the end of 82 season, and, looking around, what should I do? Can I stay in the pro game? But I go semi-professional. And it was actually Paul Goddard, who was still good friends with Mike Keane at the time, said, look, you need to get Mark down to the club. And Mike actually was reserve team manager at QPR when I was there. So obviously I knew Mike and played under him during that time. So went along during pre-season and signed for the club, and had a really enjoyable time while I was there. And it was really, really good to connect with him. He was a terrific guy. One of my all-time favourite managers that I played under, I have to say.
So what was it like dropping down to non-league?
I think one of the things I found, I mean, in my first season there, we were very successful in that first season. We won the Isthmian League. I got voted player of the season, which, someone plays at left back, centre half, quite nice because it's normally all the forwards get all the glory. But I think I certainly had the benefit of coming out of full-time training. From training full-time, your fitness levels, I certainly felt my fitness levels were as good as, anyone in the league. And, I'd always stay behind after training, do a few extra runs, a little bit, trying to keep my fitness up. It goes over a little bit of time, after 2, 3, 4 seasons of coming out. But if you keep it going, I certainly felt as though I had an edge on a lot of people that I was playing against.
And yet we're pretty much ever present in that season as well.
Yes, I didn't miss a game. I think I played every game. I think I was ever present, and and that was some good players in that team. So when I mentioned earlier, there got player of the season in that team. I'm very proud of that moment.
And as you say as well, it's not often a player of that position gets recognised.
No, especially, coming in, I started off left back, which was a position I came back, and then we had a bit of a shuffle round. George Ball came back from the United States and came in the side, and then I switched to centre half and played with Anton Verkaus, who was great to play against. He was like, go on, Anton, go and win that header, and I'll look good around you. So there was a lot of, good people in the team. It's all about teamwork, and we just had a really good blend of players in there, sort of Steely. George, his tackling wouldn't be very well received these days, but, great to learn, still learning from people like that and playing. And we had a few, experienced players in the team, but actually it was a fairly young team that we had. And, it was really good. Everyone, we had boys from London, the George Borgs and Terry Glynn that used to come in from London. And then, a lot of boys local, which was good to see, really sort of core local side, within there. But that little stillness and streetwise certainly came from the guys coming from London that came out.
And Bob Dell was someone else who you formed a great partnership with. It must be fantastic to establish quite a solid defence.
Yeah. There was a little triangle there. Bob was, he would go through walls for the team. Good pass of the ball, scored good goals for us as well, and a sort of leader in that team. If you look back at the team there, I was listening to the radio on Talk Sport today. Unfortunately, not Wycombe Sound, but I was in Talk Sport early this morning, and Neil Warnock was on there, and he said, my good teams had 4 captains, and that sort of thing's quite important. That you have more than one captain in the team, and we certainly had that within that group.
I mean, that's something that really comes across speaking to different players from different eras is the camaraderie and the great chemistry that you have in a dressing room. Yeah, no, we if I look back now and that group, we'd people stand in the bar and have a drink in those days, but it's a bit frowned upon, people drinking and stuff, they say. But we would have regular, have a night out on a Thursday, 2 days before a game, the boys would go out for a drink together and build that bonding amongst each other. It was just a really good mix of players who worked hard, looked after each other, trained hard when we did. We'd have great training facilities. We had a sort of small cage at the top of the pitch. We didn't train on the pitch very often. So the training facilities weren't the best, but the boys, did their best they could on that. And we just all worked together and looked after each other, on and off the pitch. I think it was a good group. It does feel like, around that time, there are so many, names which really stand out. Obviously, so sad to have lost Gary Lester recently as well. Yeah, I mean, the Gary's funeral is actually Tuesday tomorrow, and I was very, very good friends with Gary. We actually used to date 2 sisters who I met when I was at the club, and I went on holiday with Gary, went on the end of season tours with him. So it was very upsetting to find that. He was a really good goalkeeper, and during my time, there and then, he's as good as clubman as you could ever get at any football club. He was a really, top guy, and he was sadly missed, Gary. And as you say, so special to win the title that year. Are there any particular kind of games or moments that really stand out from that season? Yeah, I think there was a couple of games that
really. I'm not actually sure if the first season. I need to check on that first season or second season, but certainly there was a home game in the FA Trophy when we played Wealdstone. And I'm good friends with Ken Wilson. We're still together. I'm actually seeing him tomorrow. We play golf, pretty regular. And we beat Wealdstone, who were the top team then. They were the best team around. They were winning the trophy and winning, the top league. And we beat them in the FA Trophy at home. Ken and myself both scored the goals. So that was a good night. They had Stuart Pearce playing for the other team for Wealdstone as well. And that was actually his last game for Wealdstone before he signed for Coventry. And Ken always, stories you spoke to me, he's probably told you, he said, I got in that move. He said, he kicked me so hard and often, and he actually should have been sent off in that game. And he said, if he had, Bobby Gould probably would have signed him, So, we know what good career Stuart Pearce had after that.
No, definitely. And also, you mentioned that you'd already played under Mike Keane elsewhere. What was he like as a manager to play under?
Yeah, Mike was a super guy, super nice guy. Would Mike make it as a manager now? He'd probably be too nice. But players used to go and play as much for Mike as, the club was a big draw, but playing for him as well. He definitely, it was definitely, a draw that you went to play for Mike. And I know during that time that he would, he used to have his sports shop in Wycombe and trying to entice some players to come. Budget was tight. Brian was the chairman, and obviously the budget was pretty tight on some players. I knew Mike used to give boots to players to try and entice them to come and things like that. But we really enjoyed playing him, and he encouraged us to play good attacking football. Get the ball wide. We played with wingers, get the ball in the box, let the guys, get on the end of crosses and stuff. And he did encourage us to play good football.
And of course, that was around the time his son Kevin became the club's youngest debutant as well.
Yes, he did. So Kevin, I remember Kevin on my first training session. Kevin was younger then. He was probably, he's 14 or 15, something like that. And he came to the first training session, and really good quality on the ball. And you could tell when he was passing the ball, he would ping the ball in. It wasn't just passed in, it was pinged in at people. And you could see he was going to be a good player as well. And it was good to see him, actually. I saw him at one of the last ex-players get-togethers. It was good to see him there when he was one of the guest of honours.
That must have been really nice in the early days as well, to have seen him, and then, as you say, to watch him go on and play for the likes of West Ham.
Yeah, it is. I really support any teams passionately, but I always follow my ex-clubs. At West Ham was the sort of team I always sort of followed. Paul Goddard, as I mentioned earlier, was a good friend of mine. I come up apprentice with him at QPR, and it was good to see Kevin go on and do so well there. And he obviously was on the staff, and I think he was certainly assistant manager, maybe even caretaker manager for a while. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
At West Ham, yeah. So he had he's good, really nice guy. Just like his dad, terrific guy.
So what would you say is your overriding memory of your time at the club?
I think playing on the slope was one memory. People, younger fans as well would have seen what it was like to play on that pitch, and you had to play a certain way. If you was at the top of the hill, I was playing fullback. When you were playing balls in from the top, you'd sort of play them in, they'd curl them in, and they would sort of go into the player's path at the bottom. You had to drive it up, and you'd see opposing goalkeepers that would come and, keeper, whoops, and, drop it or misjudge the flight. So I think playing at the old ground was a good experience. We had good crowds come in. We had good support, especially a midweek game. The atmosphere there was terrific. They really got behind us well. We had a good run. The FA Cup. I remember going to Bristol Rovers in the FA Cup, and we lost 1-0 to, I think, Paul Randall goal. And Ken will tell you, I dribbled from the halfway line about probably 4 players at least, maybe 5. I went round right through, keeping the beat, and had a big bobble and shanked it wide. It was like, you cost us the FA Cup second round or third round, whatever it was. So but it was just winning the league. And I remember there was one game near the end of the season. We were playing away. It was probably 2 or 3 games at the end of the season, and Anton Berghaus was so ill during the game. It turned out he had food poisoning, and we were dragging him around the pitch. He was so ill during the game, but in them days, you had we only had 11 players on. We managed to keep him on. I remember scoring the sort of winner late on. that really sort of helped us, sort of win the league, really. It was a tough game when we managed to sort of get out of it when we were struggling. So I think those sort of memories, those crucial little special moments when you do something for your team, and I think that's, they're always special with you.
When you speak to many ex-players and you really get the sense that, during their time at the club, it felt really special. And did the early 80s especially, did that feel like a special period for them, for you and for them?
Yeah, I for me personally, I think I probably have more confidence playing there, and probably played my best football at Wycombe. I went on and had some good time at Maidstone for 5 years, captain them. We won the conference with them. But I still think my best playing days were probably in the Wycombe team. And that is, lots of things go to that. That's confidence. The manager gives you confidence. The team gives you, winning is a good, a thing that, when you're winning, everything seems good. And we were used to winning. We wanted to win. And we stuck together, do tough games. We lost a few games, but we had an amazing run at the end there to win the league, and that was really special.
And then obviously you went on to do a bit of caretaker managing at Walton and Hersham. What was that sort of transition like from playing to sort of running?
Do you know what? I did that at a couple of clubs, actually. I did it at, I went to, when I finished Maidstone, I went back to, I had enough of being in the conference. They went full-time and I had enough to go full-time. And decided, so I was 32 then, that was probably not the right time to go back into full-time football. So I had a choice. I could have gone to Barnet or Slough Town. I went to Slough Town, and I had just enough all the travelling in the conference, and I went over there as captain. And we won the Isthmian League first season there, and it went straight back into the conference, doing all the travelling again. So, and there was a change of management there, so I was caretaker manager there for a few games, and then I did the same at Walton and Hersham. I was caretaker there after Laurie Craker had left. Won six games in a row. We were flying, and then within a week, we'd sold our best player, Nathan Ellington, to Bristol Rovers. Our other striker went back to Millwall, and Andy Sayer, our other top forward, was injured. And then we lost 6 in a row. So that was the end of my caretaking. So funny how football goes.
No, definitely. And what do we find you doing these days?
So, I'm at Sport for Kids, looking after our partnerships there. It's a company that provides sport and activities for kids, very active in looking after, making sure we've got partnerships that our parents can enjoy and benefit for their memberships. But it's really all about making kids having fun, making memories with them, I think is a really good way of putting it. And
obviously Wycombe is a club that you have real affection for. What would you say is so special about it?
I think it's one of those clubs. It's not, a massive club that you feel you can go back. And when I've been back to games, my son, he's in the Wycombe development program there with the youth. He's been there since he was 5 or 6, and he's 13. So he's been ball boy there, and we go to games there and watch. So with him playing there, I've still got a big affection for the club, and it's not too big. You go back there, you'll see people that were there when you were there, and that's quite a long time ago. There's people that are life members of that club that are still there, and that's great to see.
Does it feel like a long time ago or not really?
When you look back and go, that was like 83, 84, that was a long time ago. But I don't feel that I'm that old, that it was that long ago, if you know what I mean. I think it was, I still do a lot of coaching with football. I coach my boys' team at Slough Town. I do lots of individual stuff, one-to-one coaching. I do some coaching with the guys at Sport for Kids as well. I've done a lot of coaching with Kerber coaching guys. I used to go to America. I did that for 24 years over there with all sort of ball mastery skills. And I've done a lot of work in girls and ladies footballs. And I coach a ladies team, and I do young girls with the Wildcats with the FA. So it's good to see the girls in football, women in football is progression as well. It's really good to see.
It just goes to show how powerful football can be as a thing, isn't it? And bringing people together and what people get out of it. We were speaking off air about how the kids that you coach get so much out of it as well.
Yeah, no, I look at it. Sometimes I go, God, I've got coaching tonight. And it's like you're going out 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday night to coach a group group of girls. You get there, and once you're out on the training field, obviously you can't run around as much as you used to, but I still, it's good to see and pass on your knowledge, and make it fun for them. That's what it's got to be, train hard, but, learn, but make it fun when you're doing it. I always try to do that in my coaching, to make it fun for people to enjoy.
And great for you to be a member of the Ex-Players Association, obviously, because so many different players from different eras, and you can share experiences and have that thing, bond in common as well. Yeah,
it is good. It's good to go along to a function. I mean, the first one I went to, I didn't recognise most of the people. I have to say, I was like, "Really? Is that you? You've aged well or not well?" But it was good to, Bobby Dell's, see Bobby there, and Anton. They're very good thing. And then before the take up of the current owners, I was sort of got involved with the support for Handy Armand, who was looking to sort of help the club out and work with that. So it's always good to see your old pals in football. There's a different thing, if you've been in a team with someone, you're always friends forever. Generally, there's you're always people you perhaps not too boss with, but in football you generally, can always be pals forever with that. And you can do that with work, but it's not the same as football. It's just so different. You've always got that little special bond with people.
Especially what you went through as a team as well, obviously winning the title as well. That's quite special.
Yeah, when you win something, and if you win you win a league, people win cups and stuff like that. Winning the league is the hardest thing to do, and to be part of that team to win that league was a great privilege. And you look back to people and go, "How many leagues do you win?" And people go, "Oh, I never won any. I had a really good career, but played some good clubs. I never won a league." But you look back and go, "Yeah, we win in the league. I was lucky. I won the leagues at Slough, and won a conference with Maidstone and Wycombe." But the Wycombe one was, the first sort of league that I'd really won. So that felt very special.
And do you feel a real part of, the sort of history of the club and sort of helped to kind of build a foundation, if you like, for where they are today?
Yeah, I do. I think because when I was there, the year before, they had gone very close to being, because in them days, it wasn't automatic promotion. So the club were... when we won the league, there was that option to apply to become a member of the Football League, and it was something the club decided against. And then they had to wait quite a few years later to be able to do that. But it's really good that, that the club has managed to, get into the league, stay in the league, and, they've been really successful. It's unfortunate last year. Still think they were badly done by, but they're having a good season this year. Let's hope they can get back up there. That they're getting the results. They're doing well, and it's really good to see.
Former defender Mark Hill speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound. Does 1983 feel like a long time ago to you?
It does feel like a very long time ago, and definitely there was a slight sliding doors moment there that he was talking about, because you think, well, I wonder what would have happened had we applied and got in. How things might have changed and maybe panned out. And maybe we would have missed out on Martin O'Neill. You just don't know.
Really interesting to him reflecting on his time with Gary Lester as well, who, of course, as mentioned, his funeral was on Tuesday.
Yes, yeah. Really, really nice interview again. It's always really heartwarming to hear actually how much Wycombe Wanderers meant to these players.
No, definitely. And you think as well, which, as I say, it's comparatively not that long ago, considering some of the players we've spoken to, but how the game has changed, obviously the ground's changed as well, and so much has changed about the club and football generally.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at any 1980s game that you can sometimes see on the on TV, the various odd TV channels like ITV4 and things, and you watch 1980s football, and it looks like it could have been 100 years ago, because for a start, the pitches that they're playing on, most of them at this time of year these days, the game would just be postponed. There's no way in the world that that it would go ahead on some of the mud baths that they used to play in, but also as well just some of the tackles that fly in and whatever. It is a very different game,
and the length of shorts as well is something which stands out.
Yes, that's true as well. Definitely. Yeah, it was almost slightly a risque sport back in the 1980s.
Very tight, weren't they, their shorts?
They really were.
That's another programme entirely, isn't it?
Let's not bring that back.
Wycombe kits through the ages. That's one to look at, isn't it? It's a bit visual, I suppose, for the radio.
I think it probably is, yes.
We'll hear from Gareth Ainsworth in the next part of the show, or the last part of the show, here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
As mentioned, still to come, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, who, of course, is in charge of the men's first team. But we must wish all the...
What you were going to say then?
I know. Must wish all the best to the women's first team as well, who have their final league game of the season coming up.
Yes, they had their final home game of the season on Sunday when they went down narrowly to Ascot United 2-1. They are now away to the Winchester City Flyers, who are a football team and not an ice hockey team. That kicks off at 2 p.m. on Sunday. That is their final game. But in that way, with women's football, actually, some games have been postponed, some games haven't happened because of COVID. So actually, there's other teams in the league that are still, I wouldn't say only halfway through their season, but they've still got quite a few games to play. It's a bit of a Wigan situation, if you like. So it's still very much up in the air as to whereabouts Wycombe Wanderers women will finish in the table. They are currently 6th. They've played 15 games and they have 10 points. And the Winchester City Flyers are just below them in 7th place. They've only played 12 games and currently only have 6 points. So it's going to be a tight game. But clearly, if Wycombe Wanderers women can win that, then actually they are looking fairly good at ensuring that they finish in 6th position in the table in the Southern Region Women's Football League Premier Division.
And a really challenging campaign for the Chairgirls as well, with departures and also injuries as well. At least 2 with quite serious long-term injuries as well. But hopefully they'll be firing again in the new season.
Yeah, definitely. I spoke to Dave Ward at the beginning of the season. He was very much looking forwards to the season and was very, very positive. Clearly, I don't think it's gone quite as he had hoped, but they'll be looking to bounce back very much next season.
We'll have to get them on for a review of the season as well.
Yes, that's very good.
Keep listening for that Wycombe Wanderers women update. Also, the under-18s and the reserves doing very well.
They are flying, aren't they?
Yes.
Both teams have done fantastically well.
So, there's a bit of a double header coming up in terms of home games.
Oh, yes, there is.
I've got Wigan, who, as we mentioned earlier in the programme, are doing rather well.
Could really, really do with winning that one. Not only, obviously, because we need to now win, but also because then that's a game that Wigan have wasted, if you see what I mean.
And it's a bit further away as well. We've got Rotherham as well coming, I think.
Yes, we have. Yeah, 12th of March. I won't be here for that one. I'll be trying. I might be watching that one with Rob Couhig in New Orleans.
That's quite exciting.
Maybe. If that all works out.
Yeah, very much.
One of those slightly awkward situations where, yes, I will be in New Orleans then, and I'm sort of having to invite myself round to his house.
Be at the window outside.
So far, he sort of said, oh, yeah, that's fine. But we haven't actually sort of like thrashed out the details yet. So maybe he's just sort of thinking that I'm some mad stalker and hopes that I'll go away.
Yeah.
I'm not, by the way.
No. Thanks for that. Thanks for clarifying.
The way you were looking at me, I thought
definitely.
I'll just...
So Cheltenham first, though, obviously on Saturday, and they're a team who've been quite kind of up and down as well, really.
Yeah, I think they're a team that you think are always going to do quite well in League One, even though they're quite small, a bit like ourselves. And then you look at the table and you see that currently they're 15th.
Similar to Lincoln, in fact.
It's similar to Lincoln. 31 games, they've won 9, drawn 12, lost 10. You could argue that they're in that sort of situation where, yeah, they're probably just about safe from relegation, but they're not really going to threaten the promotion places. So I wouldn't quite say that they're on the beach yet, but maybe, it's better to be playing them than, say, Doncaster, who, keep seeming to now pick up results remarkably, even though they're still 23rd. But yeah, very, very, very difficult to say, as Gareth will say, it's going to be a tough game.
Yes, because we're very much at that point of the season where, we're into the final third.
We are, yeah. And
that sounds like American football, doesn't it?
It is.
Quarter.
The Super Bowl was on Sunday. We're into the final third. And yeah, it is that thing of, if we are serious about this getting promoted business, then we do now have to actually start picking up some wins. And, Cheltenham at home, definitely. I think that is a must-win game. Wigan at home, clearly, because Wigan are currently second. If we drew that, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but we don't need to lose either of these games.
Because as you hinted at a little earlier on, obviously Gareth wouldn't say, but I think we're allowed to, that if you're looking at the league table now, it's a bit kind of... Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, the top two teams do begin, so, well, Rotherham, definitely do look like they've sort of like run off into the distance, and then Wigan are still slightly in touching distance, but they've still got, a few games in hand over the other teams. So, yes, again, if we are serious about the promotion lark, then the next 2 games we need to win to actually make that table look a bit different.
And even Sheffield Wednesday having a bit of a resurgence.
They're really annoying, yeah, and also, even further down, there are some teams now that, that are beginning to pick up wins. Portsmouth have won their last 2, for instance, and they're hovering slightly dangerously looking in 11th. Bolton have done okay, though they did lose their last game. Ipswich similarly undefeated in 3, and as you say, yes, Sheffield Wednesday as well. All sort of like bubbling just underneath, and whereas a few games ago we were saying, if we could get a win, then there's going to be a split, basically, and that of course didn't happen, and that split now is really looking probably between positions 2 and 3. So Wigan in second with 62 points, MK Dons in third with 57.
That's the statistician's approach to the league table there.
Be nice if they could blow it.
Yeah, well, it sounds really corny to say, but you literally never know, do you?
You don't, no. And also, there could be one of those teams that puts in a completely mad run that you don't really see coming. You've got teams like Burton Albion in 12th, Cambridge in 16th, who could still potentially, if they put together a decent enough run, could actually just suddenly get into the playoffs.
Let's hear the thoughts of the manager, who I spoke to earlier on this morning, kicking off with a bit of reflection on that game against Lincoln at the weekend.
We had a couple of real glorious opportunities that we should have taken, but having said that, David Stockdale had to make a fantastic save in the second half to keep us in the game at 1-0, because we were going forward that much. We sort of left ourselves open a little bit, which I've addressed already. But Stocko's fantastic, we can rely on him on those situations. Just unfortunately we didn't get the second goal and the 3 points we wanted, but all to play for again this weekend, and looking how the league's shaping up, it's going to be a very exciting finish to League One.
Is it a bit of a concern to have gone now 4 games without a win? Or I know you say that, judging on the performances, obviously you're pleased with the chances created.
I look at the bigger picture, Colin, always, and the biggest picture is where we are after I took over 10 years ago, and the semi-bigger picture is where we are this season, and that's 5th in the league. So there's absolutely no panic, no worry. I think all teams go through little form changes or blips or whatever it is, but I think it shows the competitiveness of the league, and especially in the later stages of the season. The bigger teams have obviously strengthened, got more players in. I don't necessarily believe in you have to do that if you're one of the top teams, but we'll see who's proved right at the end of the season. I'm really confident that boys can get enough points to finish in this top 6. Making the top 2 would be absolutely fantastic, and that's what we want to do. But we've got to give it a real go now. 15 games to go. You're definitely in the last third of the season, and the boys know exactly what's expected of them.
And something that was really pleasing on Tuesday night, so much to take away from the Berks and Bucks Cup, but obviously the size of the crowd that came along to support, the young side, and great to see Jack get her first goal, and a lot of the young players doing so well as well.
Yeah, we have to keep the level into consideration. It was, and not disrespectful on Crendon, they're really down there, as a step 6, I think step 5 team, which is, it's the level. You do see a difference in that with fitness, especially second half. I thought the fitness of the boys was very good and key in that, and some really good performances on a really hard pitch, but I expected that. I expected good performances from my boys. There's 1 or 2 that perhaps could have done a little bit better for me, but I'm really pleased with the win and the professional job we've done, and some of the trialists that came through. So not all good, real positives for them young boys to play in front of the crowd, like you say. I think the real positive is what a fantastic following we got, and at times Long Crendon probably had the more supporters there. I think the underdogs were Long Crendon, and everyone wanted them to at least score a goal. But I'm pleased that my lads got a shutout, and also, we got a good result. We get into the next round, and I'm sure that competition will start ramping up there. But it was great. Big respect to Long Crendon. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for being so good to everybody. The hospitality was great. The food after the game was great, and we hope there wasn't too much damage to that pitch, because I know they did everything to get it on that night. It was a torrential rain during the afternoon, so fair play to the ground staff who worked hard and got that game on, because it was a really, really nice occasion, and probably what the Berks and Bucks Cup is all about. That real local community feel. Nice to see all the fans there, and like I say, hopefully we've made some friends with Long Crendon.
And a really nice source of pride as well that the club giving their gate receipts, share of the gate receipts to the opposition as well.
Nothing less than I expect from the owners we've got, honestly. And I'm not saying that in any other way than how it's meant. It's genuine. They are good people. And in football, fans are all too quick sometimes. Not Wycombe fans, by the way, but a lot of fans are all too quick to complain about their owners, or why aren't their owners spending this, why aren't their owners spending that, why aren't their owners doing this, and it's all down to the owners, and they have banners up saying, I'd like to say at Wycombe Wanderers, they don't get that sort of stick because of the people they are, and those little gestures, no matter how small, they mean a hell of a lot to a team like Long Crendon, and I'm proud to be a Wycombe player. I didn't actually know about that until the game, and that's a fantastic gesture from the club, and proud to be associated with Wycombe with small things like that.
And a great opportunity for fans to get behind the team with 2 back-to-back home games, 2, I guess, very different games as well, with the opponents coming.
You say very different, but Cheltenham beat Sunderland 2 weeks ago. They are absolutely no mugs. He had a meeting with Rob midweek, and we're both agreeing that the margins in this league are so small, so small. And I think that you look at Doncaster beating Sunderland. There's no givens in this league. No givens in any league, but this league this year, wow, it is so tough. So first things first, we're thinking about Cheltenham. We want to get Cheltenham out of the way. All I care about is Cheltenham on Saturday, and then we can address Wigan on Tuesday. 2 home games, great to be at home. And hopefully the fans will get down and get behind us, in droves, because we're at the top end of the table. And we just want to increase this attendance. We want to get more fans down there, and that's important to me. So if you do know anyone who fancies coming down to Wycombe for the first time, or you've got friends and family who've heard about us and proud of what we do, and come down and be part of this bubbling cauldron that is Wycombe Wanderers, because it's brilliant. It's fantastic community atmosphere, and we really have together, fans, players, staff, everyone, have really elevated this club to highs that we've always dreamt of, and as I say, proud to be the manager, but really I know the fans are really proud to be Wycombe fans.
I did see this week that you've been back in the studio. That must have been great, and I guess new music is on the way.
New music is on the way, Colin, yeah. Listen, I have not many vices, but music is one of them, and I was in the studio with Jeff Downs, who's the writer of Video Killed the Radio Star and The Buggles with Trevor Horn, and he's an unbelievable producer and keyboard player for the band Yes, and it's just absolutely humbled to be with him working on the album. We've got 11 original songs coming out, and I'm just really excited to get this album out. It's been, it's probably been a year all together in writing and recording, and my eyes were opened about how long it actually takes to create something like this. I remember as a kid waiting for the Guns N' Roses second album, thinking, how long is this taking? And now I totally understand how long they do take these things, with time constraints and the way it goes. But it's been brilliant. It's been a dream come true for me, and I'm a lucky guy because I'm getting to live 2 dreams here, and we'll hopefully look back and as long as the album does okay. I'm not too concerned. We don't need to sell millions and millions. Just get an album out is a dream for me.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show's new music slot. Join us next week for Matt Bloomfield's covers album, which should be out by the spring.
Neil accordion. No, I've blown that, haven't I? Neil Warnock's accordion slot coming up as well in future weeks. And I love the fact that Gareth then saying, hopefully the album does okay, in a sort of like, hopefully it avoids relegation.
Yeah,
sort of like
perhaps it'll be on sale in the club shop.
I hope so. Yeah, that would be brilliant. Yeah, it should be. But it's just so bizarre, because you would not hear any other interview with a football manager take a turn like that, where actually then he's talking really seriously about his music and about who's producing the album and how long it's taking and all of that. Just fantastic.
Because the club tweeted this week and a picture of him as well to say that he's been in the studio, so I thought it'd be really nice to hear about that. And you spotted as well that Wanderers TV are looking for stars.
Indeed, they are. Yes, Wanderers TV are relaunching the Me and My Wycombe series, which gives fans the chance to tell their stories of following the club on the brand new TV platform, which, as we said earlier on, is actually very good, and definitely do subscribe if you're in two minds. Go go for it, because it is worth it. It doesn't really matter how long you have been a supporter of the club for. You could be one of those supporters that goes back to the 1960s, or a more recent fan. They just want to hear your stories, basically. All you have to do is send an email to media@wwfc.com. Tell them a bit about yourself and why you should be featured, and you could be starring on Me and My Wycombe in the future.
We should definitely put you forward as a
we should put you forward as well.
Absolutely.
We
could both do it.
We could do it.
We could talk about how I used to do the ground announcing.
Yeah. Well, and again, you have so much to say, because you're interesting, because you were a ground announcer. You read the football results, which makes you one of the...
Thank you for saying I'm interesting. I quite like that.
You are, though. There aren't many people that actually read the football results properly like you do.
Thank you. I went to Lokes Park as well, my first visit to Lokes Park.
You see, again, I'm always... That's one
Kettering Towers.
One of the regrets of my life is that I didn't actually get to see them play at Lokes Park.
I've seen Aston Villa in a pre-season friendly and in the Cup as well.
If I ever go to the hospital, I try and imagine what it's like, what it was like.
Whilst you're in the car park?
Yeah. I sort of stand in the car park thinking...
This is the slope.
Can you imagine there being a football pitch here? And it's like, well, you can see the slopiness, but it's quite...
You see the white lines, I thought you were going to say. The parking spaces.
And I do think now, every time I drive past them, I think it is still closed, the store that was Staples. And I do think, well, actually, maybe they could pull it down and they could rebuild the ground there. We could have, like, new Lokes Park, and the reserves... I know we haven't really got reserves, but, the development squad could play there, and Wycombe Wanderers Women could play there. That's my dream.
Straight and turn this bit. I don't think it's big enough, is it? Well, maybe, I suppose.
Well, it might be, just about.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying not the actual full team, first team playing there, but
the full ground.
We could have it as a sort of like an alternative pitch. Rob Couhig, if you're listening, and if you're not, I'm coming out to New Orleans to stalk you anyway.
Yeah, do listen to future episodes of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Well, anyway, but also because you'll get to hear Bob's adventures in America.
Yes. So I'm off, so I might not be on the edition next week, sorry, because I'll be on a plane this time next week.
But you'll be on future ones?
I will be on future ones, yes.
Reporting from across the pond.
Unless you're planning to get rid of me, which I haven't heard. You haven't mentioned.
It's some sort of transfer window manoeuvre.
Bob's being moved to the Burton Albion podcast.
We'll fade Bob
on a free
now.
transfer.